Happy Friday, everyone. Semiretiredbob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Quick programming note for today. Obviously, you're seeing this video, which means, well, a couple of things. I decided I needed to do a walking video today because I had a question that I think needs addressed as quickly as possible. And I'm doing a live tonight at 5:30 Central with Cindy. So tune into that to get your live questions answered. Come hang out for an hour. And I don't know how long her lives go. Usually an hour to an hour and a half, I think. But stop on in and check that out. But it's 21 degrees here in Omaha, Nebraska. We're already at our high for the day at 10:30 in the morning. It's only supposed to get colder from here as the front moves through, and we've got some highs in the teens and lows in the single digits and negative temperatures coming up over the next 4 or 5 days, so that should be fun. But all of that's not going to stop me. I'm going to be out here walking. Let me see if I can't flip the camera down real quick here. I got my boots on today instead of my spikes because the snow did, for the most part, melt away. You can see there's spots of it still in the grass. And I know there's a couple of shaded driveways around the back. So we'll see how that goes. That's why I put on my boots instead of my regular walking shoes. Just in case. And these boots have a lot more insulation in them. So once the temperatures get down to this, I either have to wear 2 pair of socks or my boots. So I went with the boots today. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, what you're watching is you're watching me walk. I know that's not super exciting. But if you consider that a little over 2.5 years ago, I couldn't do this. I could barely stand for a couple minutes without severe pain. It starts to get a bit more exciting. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. It means a lot that you spend just a few moments of your day with me. I'm almost at the top of that big hill that I start off with. But I would like to ask everyone to help me out just a little bit. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Drop down in the comments, say hi, Bob. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. All of these things are absolutely free and help me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life. I'm 61 years old and I'm doing things I couldn't do when I was 40. Like yesterday, you saw me shovel my driveway. Now, that certainly wasn't hard because there wasn't that much snow there. But still, just being able to take my walk and then clean the driveway is a really big step forward. But anyway, now we're up at the top of that hill. Let's go on around the big block today. Oh yeah, you can always tell when I turn to the north. The wind pushing on my face feels pretty doggone cold. But it's nice to be out here, walking outside. As we know from everybody doing cold plunges and stuff like that, it doesn't really hurt you to get a little cold, as long as you don't get frostbite. Be aware of frostbite, folks. But I had a comment yesterday that I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Now, we all know I'm just a retired truck driver. I don't really know a whole lot about all that other stuff. But the comment was, I'm trying to remember, there wasn't a whole lot of information, except I've tried restarting carnivore, and I know I'm in ketosis, but now I'm having the same gut troubles that I had before, and it's frustrating, or something like that. So, a couple of things I wanted to talk about today. We know that any diet, it takes, depending on where you're coming from and where you're going to, which is why I follow Professor K's advice and recommend a long transition, 4 to 6 weeks. But even with that, it takes time to adapt to a new diet. That's why I have to laugh. There was I don't even remember which propaganda channel from the other side I was watching yesterday, but they were very smug because they had a couple of studies that were giving them some proof of something or other. But then when you look closely, not even counting the fact that, you know, if you're not going to lock them in labs to keep total control, but it was a 2-week study. 2 weeks. It takes longer to adapt to whatever changes they're going to put in place for a 2-week study. So you basically get no information from that. But anyway, we know, you know, if you look at Dr. Paul Mason and just do the YouTube search Dr. Paul Mason fiber, you'll find the study that he did that was basically removing fiber helps in 100% of the cases relieve the idiopathic constipation issues. So I guess my point is to just hang in there and let your body adjust. Now, there is more information. I was watching, just to get ready for this video, I was watching some Dr. Barry about this as well. And like I said, I have no idea what kind of gut issues this person was having, so I couldn't focus on one particular thing. But a lot of times you'll have trouble when you're first converting to the higher fat carnivore lifestyle. And you know, if you've been using a lot of seed oils and even the so-called healthy fats from things like avocados and olive oil, you're still limiting your bile use, because the bile acidity in our gallbladder that squirts into the stomach to help with digestion is there to help breaking down saturated fats. So one of the things he suggests doing is slowly, to start with gut issues, pull back on the fat. Because if you're, shall we say, if you have stored fat on your body and you're not eating enough fat to sustain you, then your body will dip into those fat stores, provided you're not also giving it sugar. So one of the things you can try is slowly increasing the amount of saturated fat you're eating. Some people don't do well with rendered fat. So after you make your meal, what I do quite often, if I'm having something lean, like yesterday I had the last of my chicken breasts that I had in the fridge from where I baked up a whole big bunch of them because I got them really cheap. I just take a stick of butter and cut up squares of butter and set it beside the plate. Now, I've never had much luck. There's something about just taking a bite of butter that bothers me. But having squares of butter next to my plate, if I jab through one of them with a fork and then jab a piece of meat, whether it be chicken or turkey or pork or beef or whatever, that tastes really good to me. Having a cold piece of butter with a chunk of hot meat. That's one way you can slowly up your fat. Go ahead and cook some lean meats and maybe the first week or two you just have a couple of chunks of butter and then just slowly increase the butter, which is not all saturated fat. It's got some other fats in there. But then over time you should be able to eat a ribeye steak without having gut issues. And if all of those things, or I should say if none of those things work out for you, Dr. Berry does suggest you might try a good ox bile supplement, which can help you adapt to breaking down fat. Now, everybody knows I'm not a big supplements guy. The only supplement I really use, besides a couple of drops of iodine in the morning, is I do take the Cerule products, but those aren't really supplements, they're nutraceuticals. Because everybody knows our own adult stem cells being released from our bone marrow is part of the natural healing process. And we also know that after the age of 18, the amount of stem cells our body will release starts to go down. That's not the entirety of the aging process, but it is part of it. And the Cerule products help boost the natural release of your own adult stem cells. There's my arm twisting sales pitch for the month. If you want more information, there's a link down in the description. Go check out the science on the cereal products. If you like people to talk to you about it, you can send me an email, or over on Professor K's channel, he's got a whole stem cell playlist that you're welcome to look at. But anyway, so hopefully the ox bile as a last resort will help you out. I certainly hope. And if you have any other specific questions, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. But if you send me an email, I'm happy to try. Or if you'd like even better help, Dr. Barry's private group, at the low end, membership is only $5 a month, and you don't have to commit to long term. So that's a good place to get information. For $5 a month, you can send Dr. Barry an email, send Nurse Nisha an email. Plus, he has many very qualified moderators there's almost always one of them hanging out in the chat area of his private group. So if you need help beyond what I just gave you as an old retired truck driver, that's probably a really good $5 to spend. Links to his private group can be found underneath any of his multitude of videos. And I think if you just search Dr. Barry in the main Google search bar, his private group comes up pretty quick. But anyway, I think I've rambled on enough for one day. I'll have a few more thoughts on this as we get back up towards the house. It's been pretty good so far going around this 1.5-mile loop in 20-degree weather. I do have my scarf on, but I'm just wearing a t-shirt under the big orange coat. I suspect sometime over the next couple of days I'll have to get out my long johns, because I can feel my legs getting cold under just these blue jeans. And I can feel the wind coming up the back of my coat. So I'm probably going to have to get the thermals out here pretty quick as it gets much colder over the next 4 days. But anyway, there I go again, rambling on some more. Let's go ahead and flip the camera around and cue the music. So the reason I jumped right in and made this video today is that if one person has the question, there's probably hundreds more out there experiencing the same thing. Because today is January the 3rd, which makes it the third day of World Carnivore Month and the third day of everybody. What in the world is with all this traffic? It's also 3 days into when most people have radically changed their diets because, well, it's January 1st. Got to make sure we stick to those New Year's resolutions. But of course, most people, by about the 15th, have given up. Those of you doing World Carnivore Month, I don't want you to give up. That's why I made this video, to help get you some information that might help you with your journey this month and beyond. Like I said, if you end up having any questions, my email address is semiretiredbob@yahoo.com. But I'm not any kind of an expert. I'm a retired truck driver. Other than that, Dr. Barry, $5 a month. That's the place to go to get questions answered by people who actually know what they're talking about. But like I said, I am happy to try and help anybody that wants help. Not that my advice is worth anything. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that walk around the block with me. That's about a 1.5 mile loop. That's what I've got for you today, folks. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks, and I'll see you in just a couple hours in the live stream over on Cindy's channel.